Welcome back to the Elevate and Dominate podcast, the space where power, submission, and domination collide. I am Goddess Aroya, and we are joined by my phenomenal co-host. Go ahead and say your own names.
Thank you, Mistress Odessa.
Orpheus Black.
And first, we would like to introduce our special guest who knows firsthand what it means to reinvent, to rise and own her own narrative. You know her as Nyomi Banks, a woman who walked through the fire of the adult industry, came out on the other side, and built a brand rooted in self-love, empowerment, and authenticity. We're diving deep into what it means to reclaim your power, and after the world has tried to define you, how you break free from those labels, how you navigate through the challenges of self-worth, confidence, and identity after major career shift, and what lessons we all can take from the journey. Before we begin, we want to give a shout out to Dominate.com and all of our members of Patreon. Please continue to follow us, and if you have not joined Patreon, go ahead and join that as well. I would love to introduce the lovely Goddess Nyomi Banks.
Well, hello. I love it.
Let's see. I think we got some cheering. I could add some cheering.
I'm sure it's there.
All right. So welcome to the Elevate and Dominate podcast. We are so excited to have you here. I met you again. I keep saying this, I guess on every episode I'm going to say this. I met you with Orpheus, and I was just floored by your energy and your presence. It was just so big, and I loved it. I really was like, I really need to interview her. And most of the time I'm meeting people that he's connected with, and they are always just so eloquent and beautiful. And I had to bring you on the show because your presence was just, I had to have it. So thank you again for being here. And please let the people know where you are and more about you.
First of all, thank you for having me on here. I'm going to say I have not been on this side. I have not been on this side of the mic in a long time as being
really.
Yes. So when you did come with Orpheus, with him and the beautiful Indigo, this is just like family to me. Them two, I hadn't seen them in such a long time, and they know we got history together.
Yeah.
So I was trying to get you in front of my camera too.
Yeah. She was like, you want to come on in the interview? I was like, no.
Yeah. You had reached out and you had, had asked me, that's one thing that I said, what, let me go ahead and, go onto this, onto your all platform and just, able to where we can support each other.
Right.
No lie, I was nervous because I hadn't been on this side of it in a long time. I've been retired from the industry for over 12 years now.
Oh,
and
wow.
So coming into this space again like this, while I'm in another space, it was kind of like, but I prayed on it and I said, okay, I'm going to come on in. And then when you said Orpheus was going to join, I was like, oh, okay.
Thank you.
I figured that would make you a lot more comfortable, especially knowing someone that you have history with and that you can trust. I think that would be a good way to kind of bridge the gap there.
Yeah. But it's an honor. It's a pleasure. I just love seeing people doing what they do anyway, just doing it anyway, and just seeing you all right here, just in multiple colors and flavors. I'm loving it. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Hang on.
I have to say, I just want to bring up this story because every time we're in the same vicinity, I want to tell people that the camera does not do this woman justice. She is radiant. In person, she is it's the energy, it's the beauty, it's the physique, it's the way with which she carries herself. It is just so amazing. I had the opportunity to accompany her to a spot one time, and I walked in the door, and they had the song, "The Men All Pose When I Walk In." The whole world stopped when we was together. I was like, dang, like, is this what's like on a regular basis? Because, it's something, you have this quintessential essence that you just cannot manufacture, that cannot be taught, that can't be learned, is something God gives you when they're making you. You know what I mean? Do you feel like you've always had that it factor your entire life, or is that something that kind of came to you as you start growing and developing?
You know what? I have not changed at all. This has always been me. I just always been this way. You know, I had interviewed a guest a while ago, and she had said that she had followed me through the industry, and she said, "You always seem to be so confident." And I said, "Really?" And she said, "Yes." And I think as a little girl, that's always just me being chocolate and just trying to make sure that I knew what my space was in a world that was just so big. You know what I mean? And so I just owned who I was and it just embraced it all. In my family, I'm like the darkest one in my family. You know, so being the darkest one in your family, you kind of not know, like, okay, wow, you know, they, you know, and my aunties who were a little, you know, a couple of shades, you know, lighter than me, well, you know, say, no, baby, you a beautiful chocolate woman, a beautiful chocolate girl. Hold your head, you know, your chest up and you walk with it. And I've always been that way.
Yes.
You know, that's always, I remember my dad used to tell me, you know what, you are very arrogant. And I'm like, really? And it's not that I'm arrogant. I'm just sure of myself. And I have to be. You have to be. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that about you. I'm sorry. I just want to say one last thing, and then you can do the thing. I just want to say one thing. Like I'm like the type of person. I was in the industry too. I don't watch my friends do their porn thing. Like I don't watch my friends porn. Like I think it changes how the relationship goes. So I never knew Nyomi from that avenue of the lifestyle. I know her as an entrepreneur. I know her as a businesswoman. I know her as as someone who represents a brand that's bigger than herself. And one of the things I find, I would like to get your opinion on this. One of the things that I find is that when people label themselves as a sex worker, label themselves as a porn star, label themselves as a dominatrix or a dom, they pigeonhole themselves.
Yeah.
You know, I've always seen you say, I'm not a porn star. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a businesswoman. I'm a person that makes powerful decisions. Is that something that's always come to you, or is that something new to you?
No, it's always been me. It literally always been me. I've always said that I was a multi-million. I used to say I'm a multi-million industry. Now I say I'm a multi-billion industry.
I love that.
Or I used to say I'm a multi-million dollar industry walking around here, and people would look at me like, "What the hell is wrong with this chick?" And I just always felt that way because I knew what God had gave me was a gift. I knew that I didn't like going around in a circle. You know, I think you go around in a circle. I did not like that. I remember in high school, my literature teacher used to always, she would say something that I would challenge her on something in class, and she would kick me out of class. Well, first she would put this dot. She would put this big old circle, and then she would put dot outside of the circle. And she would tell me, I am that dot. I am that dot. And I guess that was supposed to make me feel like this small, you know, this small. Now I embrace that dot. I am nothing like that circle. That circle is a society. That's me. I am who I am, and I'm originally made from my mama and my daddy. You know, the family just built me up, you know, through the trauma, through the struggles, through everything. And this what built me of who I am. And I embraced it. You know, I embraced it all. I didn't come from, I have many lives even before the adult industry. So I cannot be defined by that 8 or 10 years that I was in the industry. I was doing some amazing things before that. You know, I was married before. I have children. You know what I'm saying? I came in knowing why I came into the business in the industry. But I came to love the industry too, because it allowed me to find myself sexually. That's one thing that was missing for me. I didn't have that, you know. But just owning all of that, that was just the cherry on top of it. And then I found BDSM. That just really just solidified my controlness, my dominance. That was natural in me, you know, and it just went from there. So all of that just stacked on. It just stacked on. And right now, even with my self-love journey and being a transitional life coach and stuff like that, it just added more. It just confirmed that my journey, my walk, and my path was purposely. I didn't know it then, but I know it now. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but yeah.
Get to be
Thank you.
world
Yeah.
of coaching. That's amazing.
So when you left the industry, was there ever a moment where you were like, what am I going to do now? Did you kind of have a few years of trying to find that reinvention, or was it like immediately you knew what you were going to do?
No, it didn't. You know what? So let me tell you something. Because this is when you say when you got plans, God is laughing at you because he said, no, that's not it. So me and my he's my husband now, but he was just my fiance then, because we both had been married before, and we was like, we would never get married again. We both been married before. We just gonna be together forever. We were in London. We was in London. I was in London, and I was doing a tour where I was doing sessions out there in London. So he came to London with me, and we recreated something. We created a beautiful baby together. And
Oh,
is that I was told that I could no longer have any more kids, because with my second child, with my first marriage, I actually had to have help. I had to have shots done, everything. I went through all of that to have her. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm not having any more kids because I'm not going through all of that anymore. And we had been together for even 10 years before that. You know, me and him had been together 10 years. And so we didn't think that it was going to happen, but it happened. The funny thing, we were sitting at a little tea coffee shop in Kensington, and we were just telling all our plans of what we were going to do. I had a plan that I was going to retire in 3 years. I was going to build my dungeon. I was going to do this. I was working with Sirius Radio then. I had my radio show there with them. And so
wow.
big things, and then we're going to move over to London, and we're going to do this, such and such and such. I was like, I come back to the States probably like a month later. I'm sick as a dog, and I know why. Y'all, I am pregnant. Yeah.
Plans change, huh?
Yeah. But the thing is that I remember going to set. When I was going to set every day, I would pray. I would pray in my car, I would pray on set, because I said, I know this is not my end. I know this is just a pit stop. So whenever you're ready for me to leave, God, just let me know, and it's time. And me being pregnant with my daughter, this is 10 years later. My girls are 10 years apart. My first one is at 19. My second one is at 30. And my last one is at 40. So that's 10 years apart per child, per baby. And so each one of them has been a transition for me, a sign for me, in a different person of me that created all of this, if that makes sense.
Yes, I bet you they all got a different set of mamas too, right?
Yeah, they do. They do. Yeah.
The youngest one is probably like, I couldn't get away with nothing.
First one is like that because she grew up with me. I was 19 years old, a freshman.
Oh, yeah.
So she grew up with me. You know, we slept in cars together. So she was like, okay. That second one, she got the rich mama.
Oh, yeah.
So this third one, like, okay, I got the post, the retired mama. She got a little, So they do.
Tired. She don't want to do too much. She gonna let some stuff get away with, right? You gonna get away with a whole lot. I love that.
I think it's so interesting for people who come up in the industry, people who come into the industry thinking that this is the end all be all, right? You know what I mean? Like, this is supposed to float you to where you get to the point where you can jump off into your own thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because this industry is just trying to take as much from you as humanly possible.
Yes.
So while they're extracting your essence, while they're extracting your your youth, right? You need to be working on the next thing. Now, if you get to the point where you're like, my career's over and I'm thinking what to do, you waited too long.
Yeah.
Do you find this the same thing?
Well, for me, I came in building a brand. I came in building a brand and knowing exactly what, at least what I figured where I was wanting to go with it. My thing is that I had came in, I've already had a production company, a mainstream production company that I've written scripts and stuff like that. So I kind of came in on the end of business and said, okay, I did my research. When I say I did my research on the industry, I did my research. I found out who was the highest paying buyers back then. It was Christians. We were making more money than baseball and football together back then. You understand what I'm saying? So it's so much money that was being made in this industry that it had to make sense not only to me, but also to my family members outside, because I honestly thought that I would be able to be up under the radar. I didn't know anybody in our family was watching porn.
I watched that interview. I was like, oh, no, they didn't. We're all cousins.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't understand. I underestimated, because I never watched porn. So I underestimated truly what it was. And I was like, okay. And I just did my thing. I just, I modeled. I used to model around the world. I was doing all that. So I just packaged all of that and put that out there. This is what this is. This is what it, my thing is, we can go in and do adult films. I was thinking about, I was going to be the first Black studio that had contract models just like Vivid and Wicked. That was my whole thing. That was my thing. Doing that. It was so funny. I would always say I was a porn star wifey material. You know what I'm saying? I was the glamour porn star. You know what I'm saying? Like I was, this is who I am. And it was really me, but I just amplified it a little bit more when it came on the sexual side, the intimate side, because I was just learning myself sexually and I was loving it.
I think it's such a freedom at that age to be able to explore your sexuality. It's crazy because for me, I know that I explored it earlier, but I feel like now I'm really exploring it, and it's way later than my early 20s. Yeah. So how do you feel like the navigation of how you were intersects to who you are now? How has that transition been for you?
I'm more confident. I'm not ignorant anymore. I was ignorant to the fact, and I can even, Orpheus can vouch for it. I remember having a conversation with him, and I had interviewed him. And I remember when my family was talking about BDSM, and this is before I even got into the industry. And I remember asking him about the stereotype of when they say BDSM, they think of it as demonic. They think of it in that form or stuff like that. And all of those things were new to me coming into this industry. Even in the transfer of energy, when we're on set with her and when we do certain things, society will make you feel like these things are demonic. These things are not real. We should not be doing any of these things, or we will not be, by God. But what I learned is that for myself, I learned different parts of my body. I understood myself spiritually from that connection. And it might sound weird to a lot of people, but I had to disconnect from religion and go hard with my spirituality, because with religion, what I was doing, I felt like I can't go into church what I'm doing, because people
say that again. Say that again, the spirituality and religion, because people think spirituality and religion is the same thing.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not the same at all. And so I knew that I was connected with God all the time. God was with me on those sets. God was with me, traveling with me from city to city. God was with me through the whole time and understood exactly what it is, what I was doing. I didn't know, but God knew, was leading me on. But also I knew that we all have God within us. We are the form of God. This is the funny thing. I have a tattoo on my back that says God and Spirit that I got at 18 years old. God and Spirit. Here I am, a goddess. Never would you think that. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. And it's funny, you say, here I am as a goddess, but you were born goddess.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And someone, it's like you were born divinity, and then somebody tricks you, society tricks you into believing that you're something other than goddess. You know what I mean? That you're something other than God. The goal of divinity is to become stronger till he's man no longer. Right. The whole point is you come into this existence forgetting who you were to strive back to that place. And if you can reach it and achieve it, you have reached your true form. But this is not it.
Yeah.
This is it. Some people think that, this is all there is this body, but there's so much more.
So much more.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. So how you've spoken a lot about the stigma you faced after leaving the adult industry. How did you handle the judgment from the people once you left the industry? how did they change the way they felt about you? Did you lose connection with them?
No, not at all. And that's one thing I do love about the industry is that we still stay connected. You know, I stay connected with who is supposed to be connected with me. Put it that way.
That's
That's how I
right.
go.
Be
That's
connected,
right.
Right.
connected with me.
That's right.
I met some amazing people in this industry that still are some of my dearest friends, you know, and that I would love doing business with them because I think they're more honest than anybody because they're out there raw and honest with their thing. There is no fakeness about some of them. I'm gonna say I can't generalize,
You can't say all of them.
right? But I can, you know, just say that, and it's been a great service. Now, what I did is I removed myself for a little while just to get myself together spiritually, and that wasn't just with the adult industry. That was with everybody. When I had my baby at 40, I was on bed rest the whole entire time. So I couldn't walk. I couldn't do any of those things.
Oh, wow.
And so I remember building a prayer closet inside of because I didn't know exactly what was going on. I knew that it was time for me to transition, but I didn't know exactly what was going on in my life. You understand what I'm saying? And so me laying on my back on day to day, I went in that prayer room and just prayed and asked God for guidance. I even went and got rebaptized all over again. But then that is where I truly started to get connected, and more awakenings came in, more spiritual gifts came to me that I did not know that I had, that had been suppressed all along. But once that realization came, I became more sensitive to people's energy. I couldn't go outside. My body would be wore down. Migraines were like intense, you know, already, and just very tired. And I'm still trying to get that in order. So even when we had went out for Western, y'all know what I left? I left because I felt this type of energy that came around me. So I had to leave.
I feel that.
You know, so I had to leave. You know, one thing is that I do understand is that a lot of times we carry other people's energy and spirits. Spirits kind of follow different people. And so I'm very sensitive when it comes to that. And as much as I continue to become aware, as I be mindful and in the present, it comes to me more and more. Before it used to scare me. Now I embrace it. Now it's just all about me managing it so I be able to be around people who I am supposed to be with and allow my light to shine. Before I wouldn't let my light to shine because I didn't know who I was to come to, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
No, that makes sense.
Yeah. And so now me wearing this yellow with this sunflower is my favorite color, and yellow. I'm like, I'm not about to come on there with no all black on my red. I'm about to be bright and shiny.
I love it. Because
Ain't nothing wrong with black. Ain't nothing wrong with black.
That's right. There's nothing wrong with black. But dominatrix energy could be whatever. You know, I feel like when you held that persona as a dominatrix, what was your archetype? Of course it was the goddess, I'm obviously assuming. But what was your presentation when you started in that industry? How did you actually get into it? Let me say that.
Oh my goodness. So, okay, so I was at an industry party, and I had met, what's her name? I had it, and I always forget her name. And I wrote it down because I said, I'm going to forget this month. Angela D'Angelo.
Oh, okay.
Is who I met at the industry, and we were talking. She said, "Oh my God, you're so tall and gorgeous." You know, she, have you ever thought about doing BDSM? So this is the ignorant side of me. I don't do that demonic stuff. She was like, demonic? She was like, no, baby. She said, no, honey. She said, I think you will be ideal. She said, you are tall, you're gorgeous. You know, she said, you're Amazonic, you know, you're goddess-like, you know, I think you would do great. And so now she explained it to me. She said, look, I want you to watch this. So she gave me this website to look at. And I looked at it and I was like, oh, okay. I was like, oh, okay. And so I go on set. And the very first scene, I'm with a white boy, and they give me a strap on. So I'm like, oh, I know what this is. You know, I know what this is. I'm like, okay, I can finally, excuse my language, I can finally get me a dick.
Yeah.
That was my that was my thing. And I was like, okay, all right. So it was like when she gave it to me and I put it on, I kid y'all not, I was in the corner rubbing it down and it was just like my whole mind just clicked, just like, right? And so I'm like, okay, so how do I do this? She said, whatever comes to you, she said, I want you to dominate this white boy. She said, I want you to let him know that you are a Black queen, you are a Black goddess, and, he has to earn your, such and such and such. And before I knew it, I was calling this poor little white boy Opie and all kinds of stuff. And it was just like, it was something just unleashed me that I guess that was just captive in that little thing. And then from then on, it was gone. I was loving it. I was like, yeah.
There are no demons here. But we do have
I don't know. It sounded like somebody had some demons there for a second. Like they need to be purged.
And I took that poor little white boy booty hole up. It was so awesome.
That's right. Yeah. No comment. No comment.
Orpheus says no comment.
Oh my God.
Great. That is.
I can see the whole thing. Like in my head, I can see the whole thing happening. That was such a detail. I didn't want to see the whole thing happen, but I saw the whole thing.
I am so glad I just saw the whole thing happen. Take me to church, baby. Take me to church.
I'm so glad I never tried to shoot with you. I'm so glad. I would be able to sit down right now.
I was a fan of Orpheus. I was introduced with Orpheus work through Vanessa Bloom. She had shown me some of your work, and I was like, "Oh my God!" Because what he do is just so sexy. It's so sensual. It's just so smooth. Mm-hmm. It is just so smooth. And then I had saw a clip in a scene that you did with Marie Love with her going home. Mm-hmm. And so when I met you, it was like, oh yeah, I was a fan, I was like, oh yeah, and him and Indigo, they're just so beautiful. And I just like, okay, yes, because I love being in the BDSM industry, but I'm not community, but I'm not that. I'm not that I do it as a lifestyle.
Right.
It's part of my career, or what I do, but I loved it. I still love it, love it now. But that I kind of like once I did it on film, and I did it on film for quite a while. I did it on film and I did it with Kink. Kink kind of helped build me up a little bit more, with it. And then I started doing privates. So how I got into private is with Miss Aiden Starr. She had a regular that she had, and he was like, oh my God, I love Goddess Naomi. She said, oh, that's a friend of mine. It's a friend of mine. And so she gave him a surprise of me being there. So she had him like on a table. So I went to her dungeon. He had it laid out on the table and had him blindfold. And she was like, come on, come in. And then you telling me, and I was just like, we can do this? She's like, yes, we can do this. Yes, we can do this. And I said, okay. I'm telling you, this is how ignorant I was to the fact of everything. And so we get there, I'm there. And then she said, okay, go get your clothes on and, your outfit on. She said, come in. And she said, he doesn't know you're here. It's a surprise. And I was like, oh, really? She said, yeah. I said, oh, okay.
I like how you said that. Oh, really?
Okay. And so as she have him laying on this bed, like, I climb up top and I'm just standing there. So, I'm like 5'9.5", 5'10", Amazon. So when this poor man, when he opened his eyes, when she pulled the blind, he like this. It's like about to go to convulsion. And she was like, calm down. He was
like horrible about this. All right, I'm just going to speak on behalf of the men out there. I gotta say something about this. You don't do nothing like that to a man. You know what I mean? Because look, you guys, again, she is striking, and you're not prepared for it when she walk in the room to take off the damn glasses and to see all that. My heart would hurt. Like, like I gotta get my stuff together. You know what I mean?
My God, wait, what was
My
the first
God.
thing you said to him? You're welcome. Like, what did you say to him? It was like,
Say stop screaming like a bitch.
I scream like a bitch too. I'm gonna just be honest with you. I would scream like a bitch too.
I love it. I love it. Yes.
I would have screamed too. I'm not gonna quit. I'm seeing you, and every time I see you, I get caught up. I'm like, damn, he is gorgeous. You know what I
Oh
mean? Like,
man.
oh my God, dude.
I love
See, can I say this? Like, I've never had, people say, well, who were your inspirations in porn, especially when you're doing porn? You're like, oh, well, who are your inspirations? Like, I always looked at myself as a performance artist. So there were no performance artists. So I didn't really see anybody doing what I was doing. Were there any inspirations for you when you were stepping into the porn?
Well, doing my research, you have to do your research. One person who is Jenna Jameson, because she was like the ultimate
Yeah,
when
at the
it
time,
comes to
for
the
sure.
business side of that. But then also I found Heather Hunter, Dominic Simone, and Janet Jackman. Those are other names that, and like I say, and jokingly, I did not know who Heather Hunter and Janet Jackman was, even in the rap song that is it Tupac that Tupac did, or is it Biggie, whoever says that, Janet
It
Jackson,
was big.
Heather Hunter, that song, I did not even know who they were until I started doing my research in the industry. And the thing is me and Heather, I love her to death. I've been to her home, we're just really good friends, and I didn't know who they were. But until I started doing my research, and as business, that is what I looked at. And it was another person too, Miss Vanessa Blue. She was one of the first women that I kind of came into. Mr. Marcus introduced me to her in Lexington Steel. And so even sitting talking with her as a business, she's a very great businesswoman. I haven't seen her in many, many years, but she was one of the ones that I would look at like, okay, yeah, she was doing her thing. But if I would say anybody who I kind of looked at, it was Heather Hunter, Dominic Simone, because she had my skin complexion. She looked like she was tall to me, and I just met her this year at AVN. I've never met her before.
Really?
Yeah, and she's short. I mean, I interviewed her for the show, but I've never met her. And then she keeps saying, "You were with us." No, I came after y'all. I came after you guys. I wasn't in there with you when you were there. I came out, I guess, when she was leaving out. But yeah, those the three. And when I look at it, and now when I do more research, on everybody, there's been some amazing, beautiful women of color that really did their thing, in the industry from, there. But yeah, those are the ones. Yeah.
Vanessa Blue got me. That's the one who brought me into porn. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember she was like, so here's what you're going to do. I'm going to bring a girl into the studio, and you're going to do what you do on stage with her on this stage, and we're going to record it. So don't think of it as you're doing porn. Think of it as you're doing a scene. And I did a scene, and I looked at her and said, how was that? She said, how was that for you? And I was like, it was okay. And she said, yeah, it was. You'll get better.
He was like, hold up, I got something for you.
Yeah, I'm like, nah, let's run that back. Let's run that back. We got but yeah, she was the one that brought, and she also made me get a last name. I was Orpheus before I was Orpheus Black. She was like, you need a last name.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, she gave me a lot of business tips, and but like everybody, it's a business relationship. So you have the ups and the downs and the lefts and the rights. But at the end of the day, you got to always have a respect for people who brought you in or gave you inspiration.
Yeah.
No matter what happens, you have to have a respect for it.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
And so right before, I would like to just take a little break just to remind everyone out there that you can visit our patreon.com/elevate and dominate. We need you to go ahead and join that family. Go ahead and over there. And also go to dominate.com, DOMMENATE, dominate.com, where you can view more of the show. And you can also have direct contact with each one of the hosts there. Thank you. And back to our regular scheduled program.
Fascinating that you started, especially with the kink, like on like camera first, essentially, unless I misunderstood correctly, and then you went into private scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like I don't hear of that as often. So can you tell us a little more of like when you maybe after the first session, like maybe some of the stuff that you found or like really learned that maybe you weren't able to find when you were behind the camera versus like in a more intimate setting?
For me, going from on camera to being personal, it's a difference because on camera, especially when you're working with kink, there's more of a sexual, where there was penetration and stuff like that. But in my privates, there is no penetration.
Yep.
In my privates, when it is that I do a thing to where you don't even get to touch me, you know, in that matter. It's something that you have to do to be able to earn that position to be able to touch me. And this is a thing, and I don't know, it's like I will have you take off all of your clothes and I will do what I call a mind fuck with you. So I'm standing in front of you and your dick better jump. You're not gonna touch me, and in that instance it turns them on, you know, and that it turns them on. But also I want to say this too, is that even in that interchanging, I understand the respect level of it, and I understand that you are trusting me in that moment. So that is where that respect for the two of us when we are in that session together, you know, from that. So I do have rules, I do have laws, and I didn't do it with everybody. I was very picky on who I allowed to be in my presence, to be in my space. And to be very honest, I didn't understand why I was doing it. It was just something that I was doing, to where I just had like these regulars, and they would have to pay a fee. They would have to pay a monthly fee, as well as the fee for the sessions, to be a part of that thing, you know, that I was doing. So I kind of kept it like as a business thing right now. But now I have a collared slave that's been with me for 8 years, even way after that I've, you know, finished with. And I've actually used him for a lot of things that I did when I was doing my OnlyFans, or when I was doing my custom videos, you know, with that, you know, I would use him in there to where I can kind of go into my own, you know, fantasies, or what I think. I did this one dog scene that created him as being my dog. And so it was like, I'm turning him from a mutt to a pedigree, you know, like different stuff like that. I was able to create, you know, something just so big with it, and, you know, and just having fun with it. But that was the only different thing, is that on set, there was some sexual action going on, of penetration and things like that. But in the personal private sessions like that, that was not happening. No.
Yeah. You know, I love that you said that. I had no idea you were going to say it like in that way, but I think that's where a lot of misconception comes, where people will see like some kind of kink on, you know, their research online or whatever, and then they'll come into a private session and they're like, well, I saw this, and you're like, and like that's like not what happens here. So thank you for saying that.
Yes.
Oh yeah, for sure. I remember actually the one that I collared, he wanted to experience, I did a scene to where there was it was a toilet scene. Excuse me. It was a toilet scene where I had actually put the slave head in the toilet and was just going. And I said, you don't want that. Oh yeah, I do. No, you do not want that. That's something totally different. That's on set, on a controlled set, that is happening. You don't want this, waterworks. You don't want any of this. And he was like, please, goddess. I said, okay, stand right here. Stand right here. I go get some water. I said, get on your knees. I just told, and I had a young lady who was following me. She was, I was her mentor. I said, go get me some, fill this jug up, go get some water. Keep filling the jugs up with water. And I had him stand there with his head back and just kept pouring the water down. You know, so you can experience this. You know, you have to understand it's a slow motion. Even even though you might be paying me, and even though you might be paying me, I'm not getting ready to do something that I know that you're not ready for.
Right.
You know, that you're not ready for. And like I told them, you could take your money and go somewhere else. I don't know. This is how we're going to do it, because I want you to have this experience when you are ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
Not to scare you of it, because it's supposed to be something that is supposed to be enjoyable.
Right.
You know, yeah.
I like how you said you took it into your own hands. Your intention was to make sure that you protected that person in the moment. I think in times, if there's a frenzy from some people that are just learning the industry, there can be where they want something and you just do it for them, you know. But I love that you held back because you knew this person wasn't ready for it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that was also for yourself too, knowing that at the end of whatever, if it was an hour or whatever, that they weren't walking out the door and you're like, oh, I knew that they didn't want that, but like I just did it because in the moment. So.
Yeah, no, you know, it's all about having that experience. You know what I'm saying? When we share that space with someone, it's supposed to be an intimate moment, whatever how that intimate moment is supposed to be, and it's supposed to be enjoyable. It's supposed to be something that we both enjoy together. That, you know, go out and then hopefully they can be someone that's a regular person in your life just doing it. And that's when you're trying to create relationships like that continue to grow. Yeah.
Relationships.
So interesting in how femdoms and male doms are very, very different. Like what women ask me for is nothing like what, you know, male doms ask femdoms for. It's like night and friggin' day. And
explain that.
You know, half the stuff you guys do, I would be written up. Orpheus is a horrible person, and blah 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 blah, and put my face in the toilet and make me scrub it with the tongue. You know what I mean? It would be right. I can't believe he did that. But I think the major difference is this: I cannot, when I'm being paid by a client, I can't really access my desire in the moment. It has to be completely about them. Because if I start going for what I want, then it's not their session. Right? So I understand how other people can infuse it. How do you guys strike a balance between, if that's the way you guys as femdoms do it, how do you strike a balance between what you want and what the client is asking for?
Y'all want to go?
You go ahead.
Y'all want to go? You know, and this is just for me. I don't know about anybody else. It's just for me. You get me. You already know who I am. You already know who I am going forward. So you already to expect what it is. We coming in, and I set the tone and the move forward. It might be different from anybody else, and I get that. But for me, I'm setting the tone going in, and I have to do that being a woman. I don't know who that is when they either come through my door or I go through that door. I don't know what it is. So I have to set that tone right then and there when I walk in the door, that this is the dominant one. I am the dominant one. And this will be the experience. So let me say this, because I did have like different packages. So you already know what you're getting on top of what it is. So I used to have one to where it's an erotic type of thing. And what that erotic is that you see me fully nude.
Oh.
Yeah. So in a regular one, you ain't seeing nothing.
Wait. Where's that package? I need to see that package. Where's my package? I got my credit card right here. Hold on. Let me get my package out.
You know, so they will have like a different packages that it was like a la carte that they able to choose that experience. So you already know what you get into when I come into that door. Is nothing changed. I remember this one guy, used to be a confusion. You have the guys that love me for my porn, and they say, oh my God, I can go see her. Yeah, but you're seeing Goddess Nyomi. You're not seeing Nyomi Banks. So you go, okay, we about to have sex. No. And it was so funny. I remember being in New York, and I remember one of the young ladies was like, no, you don't want. She's like, no, could you hook me up? She said, no, Nyomi don't do that. And he was like, no. She said, no, Nyomi don't do that. He said, well, she charged, what's the erotic thing? And she said, did she send you the package? Yeah, but that's what, you know. So I was like, okay, send them on. Send them on.
Oh, here we go.
I said, send them on. I said, yes, come on, send them on. So I charged this man $1,000 for that hour. And he came in the door and he was like, yeah, you know, I'm not your home girl. Where's God? Where's you as God? He was like, you for real on this? You didn't think I wasn't? Come on in here. Come on. Come on in here. And he was standing there and he was like, oh yeah. I said, no. You address me as goddess. You address me as goddess. And he was looking at me like, you for real on this? And I said, yes, I am. And so he was standing, he was like, oh. I said, okay, get your money out. Get your money out. He put his money on the table. He said, okay. I said, take off all your clothes. He said, you're not going to take off yours? He said, you're not going to take off yours? I said, because one thing you did, you came in here disrespectful. Came in here disrespectful. He's like, you not going to do it? No, I'm not. Take off your clothes. So he took off his clothes. I gave him back his money. And I said, now count it out and make sure there's everything. And he was just looking at me, count it out. He was like, this is not what I thought. This is what you thought. And you're going to stand your naked ass right there for this whole hour.
Good. Because sometimes people just need a lesson in real life.
Yeah.
You're not listening.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I mean when you say you really took charge. That was really taking charge.
Yeah. You know, and for me, and I guess I have to keep saying for me, is that I have to. I remember going to this tea party with one of my dear friends in Houston. It was like a weekend event. And I was so excited to be amongst these beautiful women that was in the BDSM, but they were on the lifestyle type of thing. They didn't do film. I was, me and her were the only two that did film. And so we were there and it was like a whole bunch of guys that was there. They actually, they pay to be there to be dominated by the women, the whole weekend thing. And I was like, this is such a great idea, And I remember that I wasn't welcomed.
What do you mean?
No, I wasn't welcomed. I was not welcomed at all. And I was like, it was like, no, you can't, you haven't been into this and this is what we do for a lifestyle. And, and excuse me when I say this, and I'm like, okay. Then I hear how much they were charging an hour. I said, oh, hell no, I ain't in there. No, I'm not with y'all.
Yep, absolutely.
$20. What? Hold up.
Here's the thing about lifestyle, and this is the thing. I'm in a lifestyle because I do this for a living. That's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
You do this for fun, right? I take my time and I have invested. I've been mentored. I've been studied. You're not paying me for a service. You're paying me for all the skills that I learned and time it took to be able to be this person to keep you safe and give you the experience that you want. That's what you're paying for, right? So to me, it warrants a higher price tag than someone who just bought a flogger from the store, put on a corset and came down here and finna hurt you.
Yeah.
Right. There's a very big difference between this. And yes, people in the lifestyle will discriminate against you because they're like, oh, they're not real. They're just a performer. They're not real lifestylers. No, what happened was you realized that you weren't really doing nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I got to do it at the highest level because I'm doing it in front of hundreds of thousands of people on camera.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. You doing it in the bathroom, or whatever, and nobody see when you make the mistakes and you screw up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So how do you navigate those spaces when people, I don't know if anybody would ever call you fake, but may perceive that you are not a legitimate player, that you're not a legitimate mistress because you do have a background in entertainment. You do have a background in acting. You have done porn. How do when they doubt your pedigree?
Actually, it was that day. I remember that Friday, that conversation. We were sitting in a circle. And I gave him some little sweet tea. And I explained to them. I know where I came from. I came from on the film side, but I learned so much. Much from some amazing people that taught me how to do some things. Now I was able to put all of their slaves in order. They couldn't do that. They couldn't do that. So if I have to come in here and I have to check your slaves for you to put them in order for you, who is real and who ain't real?
Right.
Absolutely. Mastery is demonstratable.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, you can call yourself what you want, but mastery is demonstratable. If you can't demonstrate it, then you ain't doing it. I want to tell a story real quick. I think this relates to what you're talking about. I was one time at a dungeon, and a few of my ex subs were there, and we're all hanging out, and it's about 100 people. And this guy's like, well, when you're a real lifestyle player, Orpheus, when you're a real lifestyle player, you have control of your sub, right? And I said, watch this. One, and almost all of my ex subs went into position. You know what I mean? Like, now
yes.
you show me what you have to you know what I mean? Show me. Demonstrate your mastery. Most people don't have control of their subs because they don't have control of themselves.
No.
They don't have control of their finances. They don't have control of their home. They got control of their family. And they damn sure don't have control of themselves. And I love how Nyomi, when you come in here, you're talking about industry. I'm talking about this. I'm controlling my wealth. I'm patterning myself. You come in here with so much direction, so much control, so much domain. I see how dominance rolls off your tongue so easily.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? I love that about you. How do you see yourself moving forward from here? How are you growing in dominating your business, your life, and your lifestyle?
Just continue to be authentic, embracing who I am. And not allowing anyone else's judgment to dim my light anymore. The shame that, especially coming from the adult industry, that is only a part of my story, and truly embracing that, but also teaching others going forward in their lives that anything that happened in their life, the traumas, the bad decisions, all of those things, those are gifts. Those are gifts that we learn from and that we apply in our lives today to be able to teach others in the future. So that's what I'm doing moving forward. So when people say, and I get these videos on something positive that I'm doing, I'm talking about self-love, when I'm talking about God, when I'm talking about spiritual, I see somebody will send me a video of me sucking dick on, and I was like, you like that? That was good for you, wasn't it? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, did I just trigger something with you? Because I got all of me. And my thing is that I want everybody to embrace all of them, the good, the bad, the ugly, because it's all beautiful. It is all what created you. We all are going through a healing process in life, and we will be forever healing. Forever healing. It's just you just be there to be of in service of others. That's my only thing. And you have to do that is you start to love yourself and have that intimate relationship with yourself. Yeah.
I love that. You said I noticed on your page that you are doing a glow up series and you're dealing with vertigo. That's something I wanted to definitely get into because I know there are so many people that are dealing with that. Can you tell us how you've been working through that and what are some of the steps that you are taking to kind of help yourself to that glow up?
Yeah, it's been very challenging with it. Today is a good day. Actually, before it's a good day. Let's just say it's a good day. Because before this, I was laying down. I had to lay down for a few hours. I had about 3 interviews earlier for the Season of Self-Love podcast that I had earlier. And the interchange with energy is one thing, but also with my vertigo has triggered. And that's because I've been hard-headed. That's why I have been hard-headed with certain things. And it had came to pass. I mean, it's certain things that I need to eat and stay away from. Finding my triggers, going at a pace that I'm supposed to go at and not try to go so fast. A lot of times we want to be so successful and so perfect that we got to go, 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 go.
Yes.
And not knowing that stress for me, it triggers vertigo. I didn't know what it was. I remember I was in there helping my mom. My mom was diagnosed with dementia a few years ago. And I was in there helping her. And before I knew it, my legs fell from up under me and didn't know why. And I was like, what is going on? And it was like, I was so off balance. I felt these things like water coming out. And I just did not know what that was. Then when I found out that it was vertigo and they wanted to give me medication, and medication was just making me more sick. And it'll put me, down. And I was like, I don't want this. I don't want this. I want to be balanced. I want to be able to do the work that I am supposed to be doing, but I can't do it. It's very disabling. when I say out of 24 hours, it's times that I only have 3 good hours out of a day. When it flares up, a good 3 hours out of a day.
That's terrible.
So now I'm doing more of a herbal thing. I'm building my my garden in the backyard. I'm working out slowly now, not as hard on myself before, and just, trying to stay away from stress as much as possible. Yeah.
I can identify with that. I was in the hospital last week with a little bit of heart palpitations, and I didn't really know what was going on, but I know for a fact that I have been highly stressed and I have been doing so many things. And just getting older, there is a thing where we want to be successful, but it is very hard to slow down. And I would love for you to maybe give some tips to a few people, just like a few of the things that you're doing for us, because the Glow Up series seems like it's going to be something that people would be really, really interested in. So can you give us just maybe like two or three little things that you're doing in that Glow Up series?
Well, one thing is that I do is when I wake up in the morning, I do a prayer, but then I do an intention. Even before I have like my own little sacred space, I call it my golden rose room, where I have my altar and I go there and I meditate and I pray every morning. I spend at least 30 minutes to an hour in there, just being mindful. And people say, are you doing that? Yes, I am, because that is where I find my peace before I go out into the world. But even before I go into there, I check in with myself. You have to check in with yourself. How are we doing today? When you open up how are we doing today? Because sometimes we don't think about that. We do not think about that because we're thinking about moving forward and moving ahead.
Yes.
Also, what I'm doing is I'm learning to trust the process, meaning that when it's meant to happen, it will happen. What is meant for you, it will be for you. I can't worry about what I did in the past. I can't worry about what's in the future. I have to worry about what's happening right here today.
Yeah.
And that's something with my mom being diagnosed with dementia. At first, when she first was diagnosed, I was like, oh my God, why her? But it has been a gift for us because it had taught me patience and it's taught me to appreciate in this present moment right now with her. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so that's what we have to understand, is that success is going to come to you when it's supposed to, not before.
Yeah.
So we can do all we can to rush it. I know, because I was there rushing it. And they're like, that ain't even where you're supposed to be. No, go sit down somewhere. And that's my thing, is trusting in that, and believing that you are going to. So this podcast right here, I even love the name, Elevate, Dominate. I love all of that. Just continue doing what you're doing and trust it.
Thank you so much.
And if you can't control something, let that shit go.
I feel you on that. I think that's definitely the motto for this year. If I can't control it, let that shit go, because I have held on to so many things, and I'm learning from my peers how important it is to put yourself in the place where you can be respected at all times and be around people that truly, truly love you. Don't waste your time on people that don't love you. No. And that helps too, to grow in different ways, just being surrounded by wonderful people. And that just brings me to just thanking you for being such a wonderful spirit and a guiding light for a lot of people that are navigating that transition, through different stages of their life. You've definitely been an inspiration for that. So thank you.
Thank you. I'm thank you all for just having this space safe for me. Thank you, Orpheus. Thank you for continue to just lead. I just remember the conversation that we had many, many years ago, of you becoming a guru. And when I saw everything happening, I was watching you. I was just so proud, even watching you on TV. And I love seeing that. I love seeing how you grow. I love how you see your community that you have with you, around you, that you steady, elevate them. You and Indigo and, the beautiful young lady that you have here and the one that we met before. That's just always, he's always there with you and y'all as a team.
Yes.
And that's a beautiful thing that you all supported. So I am very proud, and I thank you all for even inviting me on to even share this space with y'all. Really. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I know I mentioned this before, but we need to do something live together. We need to do a retreat. We need to do a live show. We need to do something where we can bring all of this energy and all this talent into one space so people can receive the message firsthand, so that they can either sit in the audience or in a circle with us and receive what it is that each of us has to give, from Odessa to Aroya to Goddess Nyomi. I mean, I think we all have something to contribute, and we should manifest that into it, because I think it would be beautiful for all of us.
It's coming.
It's coming. You know what I want to ask? Maybe you could supply us with a little bit of footage for our Patreon on you. Maybe you can give us something, because I would love to show some extras on the Patreon for people so they can see who Nyomi Banks is, and as well as Goddess Nyomi. If you have anything, I think that would be so wonderful. If you can send me a small clip or something, I could post it on the Patreon and connect people to you so that they can reconnect with you.
So you mean let me, I have to be clear what exactly you look for. You looking for Goddess Nyomi with the whips and the chains and
that's who we want. We want her.
Or you looking for the one who sit there and say,
No, we don't want her. We want her. We want her.
Quite sure a lot of people want that. And from my own personal, do the Goddess package with the naked on it.
We want to see. We need the promo for the Goddess package, erotic package.
Right.
Also.
Let me look and see what footage that I do have.
Yes.
I put it in vault. It's in the vault, y'all.
Yes. Take it out the vault for us, please.
It's in the vault, y'all.
Yes.
Y'all saw the look when y'all came by. Y'all saw my look. I can't get, my little Banks Boulevard. I got my little, section over there with my whips and my things. I'm still gonna do it. I'm still building me a dungeon.
Yes, I love it. I love it.
Well, I'm just saying, if you need, some Orpheus Black floggers or something, we can get you
for your dungeon.
Just a little thank you, because you're sending us some footage, and I'd like to maybe send you something, as a thank you for that, if you would be able to be so kind as to receive that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, that's a nice little even trade there.
Yeah, that is a great trade. That's an amazing trade. Yes, some handmade floggers.
I get to say that Nyomi Banks has one of my floggers.
Yeah,
I like that. And also, we'll also give you guys a connect. So if you would want to get some of Orpheus Black's floggers as well, you can go on to orpheusblack.com and find some of those as well, because they are custom and handmade. And I am trying to, get some too. So I got a pair of precious ones, but I'll take some others. But thank you so much, Nyomi. This has been an incredible conversation. Thank you for your wisdom, your energy, your presence, and thank you for sharing your truth with us. Before you go, can you please let our listeners and viewers know where they can find you?
Oh my God, I'm just all over the word. No, daily, I have a podcast. I have two podcasts. I have one called The Season of Self-Love that I'm on daily, Monday through Friday, that we talk about love. Just having that intimate relationship with yourself. And I don't know exactly when this is going to come out, but right now in March, we're on a series of letting go of limited beliefs, where we have amazing guests that we talk about that very thing, about letting go of some of those old habits and things of that sort. And then I have Ask Nyomi Bridging the Gap podcast, which is my baby. That is where it all kicked off at. Yeah. And that is what we talk about: love, sex, relationship, culture differences. So we have a, array of different guests on there. And this is a live show that we do every time. So you can, see me on there at AskNyomi.com or the Season of Self-Love podcast.com. And then also I have Elevate Me Self-Discovery, and that is my transformative life coach, right there. But they can find me at The Real Nyomi Banks, and I'm going to spell Nyomi for you. That's NYOMI BANKS, as well as Ask Nyomi on IG, on Instagram.
Awesome. And to our listeners, don't forget, once again, visit our Patreon, patreon.com elevate and dominate, as well as dominate.com for more in touch closeness with us here as the host of the podcast. And thank you for just rewriting your own story. I want to say that, and just letting the world know who the fuck you are. You are such an amazing spirit, and we are so thankful for you coming here and sharing your story with us. And to everyone out there,
Wisdom Wednesday for your program.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing your wisdom on Wednesday with us.
Yes, for sure. And we always like to end with this. Orpheus now has to do it, so it's up to him. But we love to say before we go, keep elevating, keep dominating, and tits up.
Oh.
Her face is so cute.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Hold on.
Thank you. Have a good one.